Welcome to another edition of Swim Easy Speed. Today we're going to be looking at an age group triathlete who used to be ex-college swimmer and the session that we did together. So what I'm going to do is just kind of let the clips play, and then we'll take a look at it. We'll start breaking down a stroke and talk about what we did in the session. Okay, so here we are. And, the first thing you can see is, he's got some pretty good length on the water. He really reaches out, extends out. And I think, if I remember right, he was a distance swimmer in college. There's a little bit probably too much rotation here to get the breath, and we'll get a better look at it from the front. But it's part of the reason one of the things that we worked on was the breathing. And it's one of the more common things that I see with ex-swimmers, triathletes, is that you get a little bit, the core tends to go, it tends to not engage as much, and then you tend to kind of really want to over-rotate to get the breath. And look, that's understandable. No one wants to take in a big gulp of air, a big gulp of water on that breath when you desperately need air. So, he's long. He falls through all the way on the stroke. Here, he's probably looking a little bit too far forward. I think this might have partly been him trying to get used to the endless pool. And then as we go back, you'll be able to see kind of the back end of his stroke. So here's the angle that we're on the water, which, again, points out probably the core isn't as engaging as much as it could. And let's see how it looked at the front. Yeah, I mean, he's doing a pretty good job right here of, setting that catch, getting the elbow up above the wrist, keeping it there, and accelerating through the pull. Same thing on the left side. You can see there he goes. Just a lot of lat engagement right there, really driving himself forward. And look, that's some of the stuff that you want to see. And it takes a long time to get, good ankle flexibility. You don't see the ankles pointing straight down at the bottom of the pool. Here you can see with the breath, it's probably not 90 degrees, but it's, pretty close. There's a foot. So we got this big gap right here to stabilize. So we just need the core to engage a little bit more. That's partly what this is, kind of this movement back and forth. And then here, so there's the breath. All right, so when we're looking at this angle right here, so there's the plane of the water. You're 60 degrees. I'd prefer it to be kind of somewhere around 30 to 40. A little bit flatter on the water. You don't get as much rotation, then you're not causing as much instability. Let's see what this side looks like. There's the plane of the water. Yeah. Look, that's how it should look right there. Kind of that position right there. That looks good. He's entering in shoulder width apart, driving the hand forward. That looks good. A little bit wide. It looks like pulling on the right side compared to the left. He's got a little bit of a better pull underwater on the left. So if we look here, you can see he comes out and then gets it back in. This right here is, 112, 114. Typically 100 to 110, but, 114. That's right about where you want to be, considering that, midline is right about there. He's in line with the shoulder on the pole. So that's where you're going to get all of the leverage of the stroke. But you can see kind of just a little bit more engagement in the core. That'd bring the hips and shoulders together a little bit more. Just give him a little bit more of a solid platform. And then the fact that we can see his eyes right there, it's probably a little bit too much looking forward. And then here, if we're pulling through, there's midline. This could be in a little bit more. Let's see what this angle is. Yeah, I mean, you're giving up some leverage there when you're that wide. You'd prefer to see it kind of something more like, maybe about like that. We figure midline is, right about there. So, just coming in a little bit, but the elbow bend looks good there. Fingertips down, pointed down towards the bottom of the pool. That looks good. He does a lot of things right. I think he's been right at an hour, just under an hour, in an Ironman swim on not much training. So here's what we did. We did some other things, but this is what we tried to get to. So we tried to get it where if before he was really rotating a lot and the head and shoulders are really connected together, we were trying to kind of decouple those two things a little bit. And so that he could just take this very, very slight breath, kind of looking forward, and it wouldn't get in the way of his shoulders. And then he could just rotate the same on each side, left and right, regardless of whether or not he was breathing. And so that's, the change that we were really trying to make here, was that, he gets enough core engagement, giving himself enough stability in the water. And then he just starts to, just slightly look forward on the breath so that the shoulders can rotate equally. It doesn't matter if he's breathing or not. They're going to be exactly the same. That means that, generally speaking, underwater is going to be in a pretty good position to grab the water, lever the water. So, as always, thank you for tuning in. And if you have any questions, please feel free to drop some in the comments. And then if you like this, like, share. That helps us out. That helps us grow the channel. And that's what allows us to keep on giving you great free content. So, again, thanks for tuning in, and hope to catch you at the pool soon.